As you know, MICS is a learning platform aimed at bridging the gap between one's expertise and growing industry expectations. Our prime objective is to provide IT skills training to professionals across various technology domains and aligning them to skills that are most sought by organizations today, while also preparing them for future industry trends. So today we have gathered here to understand how RPA is booming in market. RPA training helps you to understand the concepts around robotics process automation using the leading RPA tool named UiPath. Robotics process automation is the automation of repetitive and rule-based human tasks working with the software applications at the presentation UI level. That is, no software integrations are needed at middleware, server, and database level. In today's webinar, we will cover a range of topics around this. So before we begin, let me introduce the instructor for today's session. Her name is Avinash. She is an expert in the field of RPA as a developer and architect and has tremendous and profound experience of 7 years in the industry along with 2.5 years of experience as a trainer. So over to you, Avinash.
Perfect. So thanks for unmuting me. I was not able to unmute myself. Hey, thanks for the lovely introduction that you gave on me. So hello everyone, this side Avinash Kaur, and I welcome all of you for this interesting webinar that we are going to have today. And this is all about RPA, all about UiPath, and what it is, why it is, how we can make use of it in our day-to-day lives, how can we make it as a career option, and all of these things. So I'm basically here to make you understand about RPA, UiPath, and the entire thing. Okay, so I believe I'm audible to all of you, and if I'm not, you can just type in the chat box so that we'll be able to figure that out. Okay, so hope you guys had a good start to your Saturday, and I know this is a weekend, but you know, weekends we should usually utilize for our growth and interesting things in life, right? Okay, so here we are. So we are going to talk about UiPath. We are going to talk about RPA. Now, okay, sure. So let me just maximize my screen. Okay, and let's begin. Okay, perfect. So now let's start with it. So we are going to talk about robotic process automation, and the instructor, the host, has already introduced me. Okay, so let me give you a brief introduction about myself. So I have been working in the IT industry for more than 8 years, out of which 4 years has been into RPA. And when I say into RPA, it has been into various tools like UiPath, Blue Prism, and I am working with currently I'm associated with PwC, and during my part-time I do take up training sessions, learning sessions and everything. So I do have industry experience into RPA. So I've created 17 to 18 robotic processes, bots that you call them, software robots, which are currently deployed in production and which are running in the live environment. So a little bit of experience here and there, and also this is a very interesting field. Prior to RPA, I was into data warehousing and databases, ETL and all that stuff. And I got introduced to RPA like you guys. I was a learner in the initial days. I got trained myself into UiPath, Blue Prism, and then my journey started. So it's a beautiful, it has been a beautiful journey till now. And since this technology is very new, okay, again, I won't say since it has been there from past 5-6 years, it is still new. Still every day you're discovering something new. You are trying to learn something new. So it's still very new, and this is the right time to learn RPA, get into it and get yourself certified into at least one tool. So there are a lot of tools in the market you'll see. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about them. Like we have UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, Pega. So a lot of them. But right now, if you look at these statistics, UiPath is the tool that is leading the market space. So here we are to understand about the leader in RPA, and that is UiPath. Okay, so let's start with our presentation then. Okay, so this is perfect. So the agenda for today would be, what is RPA? So guys, we should always have our basics and foundations clear, right? So first we are going to clear our basics, that what is RPA, what does it mean basically, and then we'll talk about some RPA tools. And here we are going to focus only on UiPath, and then we'll also talk about what are the types of projects in UiPath, what are the different components in UiPath, and we'll also try to run a bot or a software robot that we call, and I'll try to show how powerful it is, how it can quickly perform the task within a span of few seconds. Okay, so let's move ahead. And also meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, you can just post them in the questions panel and I will be happy to answer them. So what is RPA? So let's bifurcate the definition. R stands for robotic, P stands for process, and A stands for automation. Okay, so robotic. So what do you mean by robotic? Anything which can be done automatically. Anything that would mimic human behavior or human actions, right? So that would be robotic. Okay, and next you have process. So what is process? Any sequential step by step that you do would come under process. So when you say process, it means a sequence of steps that lead to a meaningful activity. Okay, so the steps that you perform in order to complete a process, that comes under process. Then after that you have automation. Now when a task happens automatically without any human thinking or human intervention, that is called automation. Okay, so RPA is basically, you are actually looking for processes which are sequential in order or which are step by step. Okay, and then you're using them for, so can you please, so the guest says, can you please unmute me? Not able to hear you. Am I audible to all of you? Yes or no? Yes, yes. So yep. So I'm audible to rest of the people. So I have received 10 yeses and one guest says that I cannot hear. So guys, please check your internet connection as well. So if there's an issue on my end, I'll check it. But right now it seems fine over here. And if you're not able to hear me still, just check your network connection. Okay. So robotic process automation is basically the technology where you choose a process which is sequential or step by step, which has defined business rules. Okay. And then you go through the process and you see whether there's any human thinking involved, or is there any, like, you need human intervention. So if it is so, you will not choose that process for automation, and you will pick up that task and you will create a bot for it. Okay, something like this. So next, now let me give you an example of a simple RPA process. Okay, so let's say I have a what do you say? Let's say I have a invoice processing task. Now you go to a customer. Let's say you have you're working for the automobile company. Okay. Now in the automobile company, people come to buy various type of vehicles, and for each and every vehicle you have a invoice, right? So when you purchase anything, you get a bill, right? Now these bills are scanned images or PDFs or handwritten. Now in order to read, now what does the associate do? There are 2-3 associates that put in the bill, that draft the bill, and then save it and process it and get the information from the bill, like the customer name, the product name, the delivery date, and when it has to be delivered, the amount is paid or not, all these things. And the associate uses these amounts, these details, and enters them in a data entry application. Okay. So now this task, if you see, reading from a invoice and entering in a data entry application is very simple, very basic, no human thinking is involved, right? So it is rule based. You have to copy the name, enter it in the data entry application name field. You have to copy the invoice, enter it in the data entry application invoice number field. Very simple. So this little process would be an ideal candidate for RPA, correct? So you can choose this process and automate it. Now if you automate this process, what all benefits you'll get? The 3 employees that were working on these invoices would get freed up, right? You can put these 3 employees on better initiatives or higher value tasks, right? So they'll also get to learn something new, and they'll be working on tasks which require brain work, right? And then second thing which would happen, it would decrease the human errors. Now a bot won't perform human errors. He won't do a copy pasting error. So a bot will work the way you have designed it, right? So the efficiency would increase, the errors would decrease, correct? And then the third benefit would be, let's say your employees fall sick. They do take leaves, right? So what happens when an employee is sick? So the work related to that, associated to that particular employee, goes into a backlog, right? So a huge backlog is created, the workload increases and all that. And also employees work in a defined time span. We all go to offices and we work for 8 hours or 9 hours, right? So, but you can make your robot work for 24 hours also, right? So you are saving the salary of 3 employees. You are making the bot work 24/7. Your efficiency increases. There's no backlog. There are no human errors. So this also increases the, all of these factors in turn will increase the brand value also, right? We are performing so well when the work gets completed on time, when the huge workload is handled. Let's say if today I have 100 invoices to be processed in a day, okay? Now tomorrow there are a lot of purchase happening. So the invoice number increases from 100 to 500. But since I have a robot, it can easily handle it, right? So lots of benefits of RPA. So let's move ahead then. So this was just a little example that I wanted you to have, and so that you can just get a feel of why do we need RPA. Then these are a few tools in the RPA industry. Like when you have to do some coding, you obviously need some tool, some interface. So these are some different types of tools that help you do RPA. So you have Blue Prism, you have Automation Anywhere. There are others as well in the market. You have Pega systems, you have OpenSpan, you have lot of other tools. So here, right, even if you Google it, you will come to know that UiPath is leading the RPA space, and hence everybody is learning UiPath right now. And also, if you just go to any job listing site and you search for the RPA jobs, you'll see most of the, like 90% of them require UiPath skills. Okay, hence UiPath is a favorable tool right now. So let's get started with UiPath. What is UiPath? How does it look? And what are the different components of UiPath? Okay, so now first of all, UiPath has provided you have a trial version of UiPath software available on uipath.com. So you can go anytime over there, you just have to fill a form and you can download the trial version of the software and you can create a bot. And also the trial version of the software is almost, there's this 0.1% difference between the licensed version and the trial version. So it's almost the same. And also the best part about UiPath is that there are no prerequisites. It's not like you should have prior programming knowledge, you should have this programming knowledge, you should know this XYZ technology, nothing like that. So even if you are a novice, if you are not even from an IT background, still then you can learn UiPath within a span of 2 to 3 weeks. Very quick. 2 weeks is, you will normally see most of the trainings happening on UiPath are not longer than a week. So it is a very simple tool and easy to learn as well. So yes, somebody is asking, is something related to coding? No. So it's not necessary, you don't have to learn code or anything like that. It's mostly pick and drop. So you'll be dragging and dropping the components. You don't have to write in code. Okay. So here it says UiPath mostly involves activities and sequence. Two parts. So you have activities and you have sequences. Okay. So let me just move to the next slide. Yeah. So, and what is an activity? An activity is the smallest action in UiPath. For example, clicking the left button on the mouse. So what is an activity? Now this is my laptop. Okay. So anything that I do on my laptop is considered as an activity in UiPath. If I minimize this PDF, so this is an activity. If I maximize this PDF, it's an activity. If I perform a left click, that is an activity. If I perform a right click, that is an activity. If I type, that would be an activity. So any little thing that you do on your machines, on your laptops, would be considered as an activity. So one of the guests is saying your screen is not visible. Let me know if my screen is visible to others. I am on the getting started with UiPath page. Yes. So others are saying yes. So guys, just check your internet connection if it's not visible. Thanks for confirming, guys. Okay. So the smallest activity is the smallest action in UiPath. I hope you have understand. So anything that you do in your laptop is considered as an activity. Let that be just a simple left click, right click, or typing. Perfect. So let's move ahead. So next you have sequence. Now what is a sequence? Sequence is a list of activities. Okay. So all the activities placed one after the other would be called as a sequence. Okay. Now let me just open the UiPath tool for you guys. So this is how it looks like. Now you can see on the left hand side you have the activities panel. So this is the place from where you will drag and drop all the activities, and the place in the middle. So here you can see there's a file called Flipkart Product Analysis.xaml. So UiPath creates files with the extension of .xaml. So all XAML files are created. Okay. Now this would be called as your design area. So here, this is the place where you will be designing your automations. Okay. So here we are talking about a sequence. So let's say in the activities panel, you will be searching for activities. Let me search for click. Okay. So when I type in click over here, you can see all the activities having the name click inside it are listed. So if I drag and drop it here, so this click activity is inside the sequence. You can see I'm not writing in any code or anything. I'm just dragging and dropping these activities. And this is the sequence. So in a sequence, all the activities are listed in a waterfall flow or a linear progression. So one back to back. So all the activities will be one below the other. Okay. So from the activities panel, you'll be dragging all your activities, searching for them. Once you have them in the design area, on the right side, you'll see the properties panel. So what you'll do, for every activity, the properties changes. Now let's say I'm clicking on sequence. So when I click on an activity, it gets highlighted by light orange. Okay, some light yellow, dark yellow color. So here if you look at the properties panel here, there are just two properties. Display name and sequence and private. If I click on the click activity, you'll see the properties are changed. So every activity has a different set of properties. So here the properties are different. You have click type, mouse button, and so on. So basically, what all activities you want to perform in your process, you will be selecting from the activities panel and dragging and dropping them in the design area, and then you can configure their properties from the properties panel. Okay, very simple. Now next, let's see what a PPT has to say. So what are the types of project in UiPath Studio? Okay, so you have these types of projects. You have a blank process, simple process, agent improvement, and transactional business process. Actually, this particular slide is taken of the previous version of UiPath. If you look at the current version of UiPath, you'll see the type of processes has changed. Okay, in the latest release, they have introduced different type of processes. So currently, we are working with 2019.1.0 version of UiPath. Okay, and this little screenshot was taken from the previous release. Okay, so let's look at the current one. So here you see you have process and transactional process, agent improvement, and you have a robotic enterprise framework. And if you look at this screenshot, The last one is removed. The transactional business process has been replaced. This one has been replaced by Robotic Enterprise Framework, whereas rest of the things are the same. Okay. And also you'll see that the blank process has been renamed by process. Okay. So with every release, they keep on adding something new to the software. Okay. And obviously they keep on upgrading it with the latest technology so that you can get in new functionalities with every release. So let's look at the PPT now. So when you click on a blank project, it is a clean slate. You can start building it on it from scratch. Okay. Now here, if you click on the process, which is the blank process, and you click on create, so it's creating a blank project for you. Okay. Now this is how a blank project looks like. There's nothing. This is the main file. So with every project, a main file is created. Okay. And again, you can go to the activities panel and drag and drop any activity that you want to. Perfect. So this is how a blank process looks like. After that, you have a simple process. So this is not there currently in the current release of the tool. So after process, you have transactional process. Now here you can see there's a heading written new from template. So these three, transactional process, agent process improvement, and RE framework, these are all templates that are provided to you. So you can use these templates, you can customize them, and you can build your automation on them. So you'll see that with other tools like PowerPoint, Word, or some other tools, so you do have templates provided. So this is something like that. So if you want, you can go ahead with these templates and start building your bot, or else you can always start with a blank project and start building your bot. Okay. So next would be, so here they are explaining the simple process, agent improvement process. So the simple process template is, it basically has flowchart inside it and sequence of activities, whereas the agent process improvement is again a template where you can provide in keyboard inputs or click inputs and the process gets triggered. And lastly, you have a template called as, here it is written as transactional business process, but it has been renamed to RE framework. So Robotic Enterprise Framework. It is also called as RE framework. Now every tool that you have, right? So if you are from coding background or from IT background, you'll be aware that every tool has its own framework. So this is something like that. So this is the Robotic Enterprise Framework provided by UiPath. So you can always use it and build your large scale projects, large scale automations on that. Okay. Then what are the different components of UiPath? Okay. So this is our UiPath blank process that we created. So there are a lot of components to it, different components. So if you understand the tool, you will be able to create automations very easily. Okay. So like I said, the left pane that we have is called the activities pane. So this is the place from where you'll find all the activities that you need in your processes. Okay. Let's say if I want to type something in my process, I am doing a data entry application. So I'll search for a type sort of activity. So you can see there's an activity called type into and type secure text. So I can use them. And let's say if I want to create a flow chart. So I'll search for a flow chart and I'll drag and drop it in the design area. So this is how a flow chart looks like. It has a start node and inside it you can have different activities. Now, initially I showed you a sequence file. So in a sequence, all the activities are one below the other. You do not have any branching in them. Whereas in a flow chart, I can have activities and I can also have branches in them. Okay. So here, let's say I connect it with the start button, and here I can use a decision, and I can have different flows to it. So I can have branching, right? So let's say the true branch, I have a true branch, I have a false branch. Depending on the condition, I can move from one flow to another. Okay. So this is how your flow chart will look like. Now there's a question, is UiPath tool open source? So open source, if you see, you can download the trial version and you can automate the processes. You can create automation processes. But if you have to go for a real-time process, real-time project development and all that, you have to buy the license. Okay, so it is licensed. For the enterprise version, you have to purchase the license, which costs you nearly $8,000 to $10,000 annually, and then you can deploy n number of bots on using that one license. Okay. So after that, so this is how your flowchart looks like. Now, from the just keep few basic things in your mind. Activities panel is the place from where I will be searching for actions and using in my process. Now, the second thing to remember is, for every activity, I have to reset the properties. So for resetting the properties, I have to go to the properties panel. So this is the place where you will be resetting all your activities. Now, like I said, every activity has a different set of properties. Okay. So you will be making use of activities panel a lot, properties panel a lot. Perfect. Now next. So whenever you run your bot, okay, so all the automation files that you create, so people call them with different names. You can call them as automation workflows, okay, then they call it as software bots, then they call it as bots also, just BOTS. Okay, so you can call them as automation files, software bots, or just bots. Okay, so whenever you run a bot, and it's very simple, you just have to click on the green play button, which is run, and you can either press the shortcut key F5. So whenever you run a bot, you can see the output in the output panel. So this particular panel will show you if there's any error, if there's any warning, if there's any information, or the traces. Okay, so all those things would be visible in the output panel, which is just below your design area. Okay, so this is your output panel. Now, next, just below the properties panel, you can see the outline panel. So what does this outline panel have? You see that there's a main. So all the activities are listed over here. If I click on this last sequence, it will basically highlight that activity in the design area. Now let me click on flow decision over here. So you'll see it highlights it with a little light orange boundary. If I click on input dialog, it will highlight it. So the outline panel comes to use whenever you want to go through your activities. Okay. Now right now we just have 4 activities. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is easily visible. Now in your automation processes, there can be scenarios when you have 50, 60 activities. So searching for that activity becomes difficult. So you can go to the outline panel and search for them. Okay. So this is the only use of outline panel. So now we have seen the activities panel, output panel and property panel. And this main file, this is the design area. So this is the main file that is created with every blank process or with every automation process that you create in UiPath. Okay, let me show you when you create a blank project or whenever you create any project in UiPath, what are the things that get created. Okay, so let me show that to you. Let's say, so these are UiPath projects. So let's say asset is a project. Now here the project name is asset, and you can always customize the location wherever you want to save your automation file. So right now I'm saving my process or project in desktop UiPath folder, and by default they get saved in documents. Okay, the documents folder. So this particular folder, you see the documents folder has UiPath. So here all your projects get saved by default. Okay, so now I created a project called asset. So by default with every project, three things get created. You have a screenshots folder, you have a main file, so the main XAML file is created, and lastly you have a project.json file created. Okay, so these three things get created by default. Now how does UiPath work with all these different applications in your processes? Now the name, if you look at the name UiPath, so it's UI and you have U, small I and PATH. Now UI in UiPath stands for user interface. Okay, UI in UiPath stands for user interface. So what does it mean? It basically interacts with the user interface of each and every application. So it does not interact with the underlying code of an application. Now let's say we'll take a look at a very basic application, that is a calculator. Okay, now UiPath will interact with the interface, user interface of calculator, and not with the background coding of calculator. Now every application is created with some code, right? It can be Java based, it can be Windows based, Python based, or any programming language, it can be mainframes or any type of different application. So it does not interlink with the underlying coding of the application, it just interlinks with the user interface of the application, the GUI, the graphical user interface. Okay, so let's say if I were to create a little automation with the calculator. Okay, so let me perform a little automation with calculator. I'll say start application calculator and I'll record a few steps. Okay, now let me just perform a simple calculation as 88 multiplied by 36, and I'll say equal to, and after that I also want to extract the result. Okay, so I'll save and exit. Okay, and lastly I'll display the result in a message box. So I'll display the calculation result as okay. Now let me close this calculator and save and run this automation. So ideally what it should do, it should open the calculator, it should perform the calculation 88 multiplied by 36, and it should display me the final result, which is 3168 in a message box. Okay, let me run it. So you can see it open the calculator and it is performing those actions, and it displayed me the result in a message box saying that your calculation result is 3168. Perfect. Okay. So here, if you look at the automation, you'll see there are just screenshots. Okay, so if I look at the first activity, here there's an option called show informative screenshot. So this is a screenshot of the application. Now here, even in the click activity, there is a screenshot of the 8 button. Now in next click activity, again there is a screenshot of button 8. Now in the multiply activity, this is again a click activity, you'll see there's a screenshot. So basically, UiPath works with the user interface. And whenever it is working with an application, it is taking screenshots of the elements of the application. Okay. So everywhere UiPath takes screenshots of the application. Now if you open this project in the screenshot folder, you'll see in that screenshot folder you have screenshot of all those images. 8 application equal to, then the result, then the multiply sign, everything. So that is why this screenshot folder is in place. So in this particular folder, it will have all screenshots of the application wherever you are clicking, typing, or doing anything. Okay. So no underlying code is used, only it is dependent on the screenshots or the user interface of the application. Cool. So I have a few questions. So cannot we work with REST APIs? Yes, you can work with REST APIs also using UiPath. You can connect with them. You can read or you can also post using REST APIs. And one guest types in, it can work by script. You can also call a script through UiPath, and you can invoke a script, you can get the output of script, you can use it, you can call a script and all that. So everything can be done using UiPath. So right now I just used the recorder in UiPath and created this automation quickly. So where it was just performing the calculation. So right now I just showed you with a very simple application, that is calculator. Now you can have different type of applications also, right? So you can integrate UiPath with all different types of applications. That can be a SAP based, Java based, mainframe based, any type of application. Okay. So there's a question, what about big projects? Everything works with screenshot, right? So UiPath works with the user interface of the application. So any application that you're working with, UiPath will capture all the screenshots of that application wherever you are working with it. Let's say even if any little element screenshot is used. Now, that's one thing. So most of the automation tools work in this similar way, but let's say if you are working with an application which tends to change very quickly. Now, it's not that stable. Now, see, if you look at websites, web applications. So, every 6 months or so, the look and feel of the website is upgraded. It is changed, right? So, in that case, you have to keep on upgrading your bots as well. So that if I have a bot created with a previous version of application, it would obviously crash in the next 6 months, right? If the application gets upgraded. So you also have to keep upgrading your robots. So one of the guests says not able to hear. I believe I'm audible to rest of you guys. Just give me a confirmation, yes or no. That would help. Yes, so I'm audible to others. Please check your audio connection. Okay, perfect. Thanks for your confirmation, guys. Okay, so this was the little automation that we created, and you can see how powerful UiPath is. You can use the various features in UiPath like recording. You have different types of recording: basic, desktop for desktop applications, web for web applications. Then you have Citrix recording for Citrix applications. And then here you have a lot of options. So this is the design tab. So the design tab has various options which will help you design your processes, create your automation. So under new, you have different types of files. You have a sequence file, flowchart, state machine. You can use them as per your processes. Then you have your save buttons. So these are basically to do a Control S to save your files. Then you have a run button to execute your automation. Okay. Let me just cancel this automation. So let's look at our PPT. So the PPT is talking about the different aspects of UiPath. It is talking about your design tab. Then the recording. So we just used the recorder right now and created the calculator automation. So there's a question, can this be applied for real-time applications whose values are dynamic? Say like you want to set a rule which follows accordingly. Yes. So this is, see, right now I don't have any other applications, hence I showed you an example with calculator. Okay. So you can use it with dynamic applications as well, and so that which has set of rules, and the bot that you create, it will follow it accordingly. Okay, let me show you a little automation example that we have. Now I just need 4 or 5 names from this particular session, so just paste me few names that have joined in. You can just provide me a name. I'll use it in one of my automation that I'm going to show to you. Okay, so Abhishek, I'll use Abhishek. Then I can use Deepak and perfect. And I can use Indra and Darshana. Perfect. Thanks guys. So I'll use Darshan and Indra. Okay. Now let's say this is a very simple automation. There's a task that a data there are associates in back office jobs or other sectors where they extract data from various websites, right? And then they extract it in an Excel format and they send it for further data analysis. Okay, so this is a simple process where associate receives this particular Excel file as an input, and she enters all the customers and the products that the customer wants to search for. Let's say we have 4 customers coming in today. I have Abhishek, Venkat and Darshan and Indra, and these guys want to get information on products like Apple iPhone, Samsung Note, something like that. And they want the data analyst to search for these products on various e-commerce websites. Let's say Flipkart right now. And they want that the data analyst should give them information about these products. So for every different product, you have different sort of you have offers on different e-commerce websites. Now, even if we go shopping, right? So we look at different websites. We search for the same product on Amazon, Flipkart, and eBay. And then we think, okay, which site is giving me the best offer? And then we go for it, right? Something like that. And so this is the primary requirement over here. So you have the customer name, the customer's email ID, and you want the data analyst to search all these product details and send that to you in an email, in an Excel sheet. Okay. So this is the input that I'm providing. I'm providing these customer names and these products and also the customer email ID. So I'll just save my input file, close it, and I'll execute my bot. Okay. I'll just save it and I'll run it. So you can see it has launched Flipkart and it is searching for Apple iPhone 8 Plus. So every customer has a different product requirement. So it is searching as per the products mentioned in the Excel sheet. So right now it is searching for Apple iPhone 8 Plus. Now for the next customer, the phone was Samsung Galaxy S8. So it is searching for that. So it will open the browser 4 times because we had 4 customers. Okay. So the third browser has been opened. It is searching for Apple iPhone XS. So if you provide n number of, let's say if you provide 100 customers in your Excel sheet, so it will search for all those 100 customers. Okay. And if you provide whatever product name you're going to provide, it will search for those products. And then it will try to extract the details in an Excel file. And at the end of the automation, it will send you emails to the specific email ID of that customer with an attachment. Okay, so now once the automation ends, it will take you back to UiPath Studio. Right now you can see at the bottom of my desktop there are 2 UiPath icons. So the automation ended. In the output panel, you can see it says the execution started and it ended in 1 minute 55 seconds. Okay. Now let's look at the, first of all, let's look at the output file that has been created, and also let's check whether I've received emails or not. So here you can see I've received 4 emails from the bot, right? So here, first of all, I've received an email for Abhishek. Why I've received emails? Because I didn't provide your email ID. The to and sender is my email ID itself. So here it says, hi Abhishek, the Flipkart product search list is here. Now if I open this list, here you can see that it has the product which Abhishek requested. It has the product name. Let me just download this file. That would be better. Okay. So it says that, so this is how your file is looking like. You have the product name, you have the product URL and the product price. So with the help of this, the customer can simply go to the product URL and he can look at the price which suits him the best and he can choose that, right? So isn't it interesting? So here you can see you have the Abhishek tab created and the tab has the name Abhishek and then you have the details available. Now if I look at the data analysis for Indra, if I just download this file, and then there should be a tab with Indra. So here you can see there is a tab with Indra and the product that Indra wanted to search for, and then the URL as well. So this is how powerful UiPath is. So within a span of few minutes, it just extracted these particular data set for you, and it also sent emails to the customers with the attachment. And now the customer just has to evaluate which product suits him the best, and he can go to that URL and purchase that product, right? So very simple and basic automation, but very powerful at the same time. Okay. Now if you want to see, I also have this particular file created in my system, and where it is created inside here, UiPath Flipkart product search. So I can go to this location, Flipkart product search folder, and here you have the output file, and you can see the timing. You have 16th of Feb 3:29, and here you can see Abhishek, Darshana and Indra have their products. Perfect. Now let's move ahead. Let's look at our PPT. So this is how powerful UiPath is. Any process that you have in mind which does not use any human intervention, human thinking involved, which is just rule based, you can easily implement those processes using UiPath. Okay, and the best part about UiPath is no coding required, just drag and drop functionality, and you have a free tool available, right, for learning. So you can easily download the trial version and learn it on your own. Okay, then so we just saw the recorder where we just recorded the calculator calculations. So this is like, the recorder is like a video camera. You click on the play record button and you start recording the movements or the actions. So this is similar to that. So it says UiPath Recorder allows users to record UI, mouse movements, keyboard activities, etc., and it will generate a automation file for you. Then you have scraping. So with the help of these scraping wizards, you can scrape data easily. Now in the Flipkart automation that I showed to you guys, we have used data scraping. So this particular thing came out of data scraping. So we use data scraping to extract the product name, product URL, and product price fields from Flipkart application. Okay. Then next you have user events. So now user events are again activities like mouse click, key press, and all these things. Okay. Then you have variables in UiPath. Now, like any other tool, any other coding language or programming language, here also variables are used. Now, why variables are used? Variables are used for storing values. Now, if you see, look at this automation. Here, you'll see, if I click on the variable panel, okay? So, below the design area, you have the variable panel. So if you click on that, you'll see there's a variable created called input DT, right? So input DT is a variable of type data table, and you have a scope. Now your variable can have a global scope, a local scope, something like that. Okay. So you can again create variables with different types. You have Boolean, integer, strings, objects. And let's say if you are not okay with these types, you can again explore for multiple types. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead with your question. So the question is, how many bots can be run at the same time if we have big project or multiple projects? So if you have a licensed version of UiPath, you can have n number of bots running. I don't have the exact number that like there's no constraint on the number of bots, but still I have to check. Okay, till now I have not seen any constraint. And also now when you deploy a bot, so where does your bot run in production? You have a dedicated virtual machine for your bot, right? So in a virtual machine, a single bot can run at one time. Now let's say if your bot is doing screen scraping or it is extracting data from application. Now at the same time I cannot have the second bot running because they would end up canceling their processes. So whenever your bot is of the type of screen scraping, extracting data and all that, it should run standalone. Okay. So at a time, it is always advisable one bot should be running on one virtual machine. Okay. So one bot on one virtual machine at a time. Okay. Not multiple bots. So this is what is advisable. Now let's say if this first bot runs for a schedule which is like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Okay, so the bot is scheduled between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So after 2 p.m. your virtual machine is free, right? So you can have a second bot which runs on the same virtual machine between a time and it should be scheduled from, you can say, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Okay. Now after 6 p.m. again your VM is free, so you can schedule a third bot on that PM. Okay. So it's not a good practice having two bots running at the same time because they normally cancel their processes. So always have a single bot running at a time, and then you can run them on a defined schedule so that you can have multiple bots on a virtual machine. Because again, purchasing a virtual machine, you have to pay some money for that also, right? So you can utilize the virtual machine with multiple bots, but on a defined schedule. Okay. So there's a guest asking, do we have standard variables? And if yes, how many standard variables? So you can have different types of variables in UiPath. Now here, if you will see, there's a variable created called input DT, and the variable type can be of any type. So by default, you have few types listed which are used frequently: Boolean, integer, string, object. If you want a variable of type email, let's say email list, so I can search here. So you can have a variable of type email address, email collection, email message, anything like that. So let's say I wanted of a type email message, I can choose that. Okay, so these are all variable types available. Here you can see browse and select a .NET type. Now UiPath is developed on VB.NET. Okay, so it is developed using VB.NET programming language. Now here all these variables that are listed are of .NET type. So in the background of UiPath, since it is created using .NET, you will see everything related to .NET inside it. So these are all .NET variable types. So if anybody from .NET background, VB.NET background, they'll find UiPath more familiar. Okay. You're welcome. So let's move ahead. So then you have different types of file in UiPath. You have new, if you click on new, you can see different types of files like sequence, flowcharts, state machines, and you can use them for your automations. Then activity panel I already introduced to you guys. This is the place where you'll find your activities. Then different types of activities that are available. If you go to the activities panel, here, if you just minimize all, you'll see these are the different activities panel. Okay, different branches. So every UI automation has set of activities. Then app user interface events has a set of activities. Then app integration has set of activities. You have Excel, CSV, mail. Then system has set of activities. And if you want to directly search these activities, you can just search it with the activity's name. Let's say if I type in box, I have a message box activity listed, something like that. Then there's a question from the guest. He says, let me check. My requirement is need to use multiple bots for multiple processes. So in that case, I'll go for multiple virtual machines. Right. So in that case, you have to take multiple virtual machines and having a bot, single bot run, multiple processes run on multiple virtual machines. Okay. So you're right here. Okay, so these are the different activities that are listed, and then you have the properties panel. Now, properties panel I already explained, like with every activity you have a different properties panel. Okay, now below you have your variables panel, and then a hands-on. So a hands-on exercise, I already showed you this particular automation where you will be reading, you'll go to the website, copy the details, and then save it in an Excel file and mail the file to the respective contact, right? The automation that I showed you on Flipkart. So if you look at this automation, it's a simple flowchart automation. Okay. So there's one more question. Okay. So can we deploy these bots in cloud? Is this on-premise application or can be deployed on cloud as well? Okay. So if you see UiPath Studio, this particular software has been installed on my machine. So this is on-premise. Okay. So this software is an executable file that you will be installing on your machine where you'll be doing the development. Okay. And also, there are three different main components to UiPath. Let me tell that to you. So this is your UiPath. Okay. And there are three components. The first one would be UiPath Studio. Now Studio is the place where you will be creating your automations or your bots. Okay, so let's call it as creating or developing automation files for your bots. Okay, so this is the software that I'm showing you right now. Perfect. So this is what you will download it from uipath.com. The trial version, you will install it. You'll get an exe file, you have to install it, and here you will be developing your bots. Then there's a second component which is called as UiPath Robot. Now this robot is a service, and this comes in when you download UiPath Studio. It will come with it. So if I just search in UiPath Robot, this particular thing, so here you can see the UiPath Robot is coming up and it says that it is connected right now. Okay, so this is a service, this is a little application that will connect that will help you deploy bots to the production environment, and that will help you deploy bots to the different environments or the orchestrator. Okay, so this helps in code or bot deployment. Okay, and then there's a third component, which is the orchestrator. Now the orchestrator is the place where you will be scheduling, monitoring your bots. Okay, or you will be saving your assets also. Assets like username, passwords, and all that. Okay. So 3 components to UiPath. First one is the studio, where you will be creating your automations. This application you have to install in your machines. Second one is the UiPath robot. So this particular thing is a service that will help you deploy your bots or code to the server. Okay, to the server. And the third component, orchestrator, is a URL or is a server based application. Okay, you don't have to install your orchestrator. There will be a URL provided to you that you will access, and it is basically a server from where you will be scheduling or monitoring your bots. Okay. Now you have that available with the trial version of UiPath as well. So if you go here and if you search for platform.uipath.com, so you will be directed to your orchestrator. Okay, so it's opening. So this is the UI orchestrator which is given for the trial version. So you can always become a tenant over here, create a tenancy, provide a correct email ID, and you will be logged into the orchestrator. And then you can schedule or deploy your bots from here. Okay. So Studio is the place where you will be creating your automations. This will be in your laptops, in your machine, this particular software. And UiPath Robot is a service, this particular thing, which will help you deploy your codes or your bot to the orchestrator. If I open the setting, you'll see it has orchestrator configuration. So it has my machine name, it has the orchestrator URL, and it will connect to the orchestrator. And it will help me deploy the bots. And how do I deploy the code? It is very simple. Let's say I want to deploy the Flipkart product search. Okay. Here you can see in the design tab, the last option is publish or deploy. So I click there. And here publish to orchestrator or custom URL. So if I want to publish to orchestrator, I'll select that and I'll click on publish. So it's now publishing my package, and if it gets successfully published, it will give me a success message. Okay. So let me check. I have few questions. So yes. So since you got, see right now it says error publish workflow orchestrator failed, task cancelled. So there's some connection problem, hence it was not able to publish to the orchestrator. Okay. Otherwise in normal scenario the code gets published. Let me look at the questions that I have. So is this on-premise application or we can deploy it? Hopefully I've answered your question. Here Studio is on-premise, you'll be creating your code and then using the publish button, you will be publishing your code to the orchestrator, which is server. Okay, so you publish your code to the server and you can schedule it from there. Then there's the next question, what are the drawbacks or difference between Automation Anywhere and UiPath? Now Automation Anywhere and UiPath, there are a lot of difference between them regarding the user interface, the look and feel. So UiPath is much easier than Automation Anywhere to learn and to create your bots. So the time taken to develop a process on UiPath is much lesser than in Automation Anywhere. And also with UiPath you have, I have not seen that there's any problem to integrate with any type of applications. So that is another thing. And with UiPath again you have free learning available. You can easily learn UiPath, you can get it installed. You have the trial version for practice and everything. So UiPath has a lot of benefits over automation anyway. And differentiate between UiPath and Blue Prism. So again, in Blue Prism, you'll see that the look and feel is different. There's a different concept of processes, Process Studio, Object Studio in Blue Prism. There you have to integrate, you have to use the Object Studio to work with applications. You have to work with Process Studio to work with business processes and all that. And then finally you have to integrate it in Blue Prism. So a lot of differences in Blue Prism, and with Blue Prism you cannot do any OCR. So there is just one activity in Blue Prism which helps you do OCR, read text with OCR, whereas like we had the invoice processing automation. So over there the client suggested to use Blue Prism, but with Blue Prism we were not able to extract or read scanned images, handwritten letters and all that. Whereas with UiPath you can easily read scanned images, PDFs and letters and all that. So Blue Prism is way behind than UiPath. And can you show us deployed bot, how you can use in your daily real-time basis? So right now my orchestrator is not connected. That is why I try to deploy the bot, but since it is not getting connected with the orchestrator, here again this is the trial version, and this is also my personal laptop. So hence that's why. So prerequisites of UiPath. Okay. So prerequisites of UiPath, I would say nothing. Even if you are not from a technical background, that is totally fine. You can easily learn UiPath within a time span of 2 weeks or so. But so it's again dependent on you. The more hands-on you do, the more practice you do, the better you'll get at the tool. Okay. So as of now, no prerequisites in UiPath. Even if you look at my background, I was not from a .NET background or from a programming background. I was from data warehousing, databases and all that. But I grasped and quickly picked up UiPath. Okay, so people from non-technical, technical background can easily get started with UiPath. Okay, and next question. What kind of scenarios we can go for UiPath development? Some examples. So like I said, any kind of processes, any kind of real-time process that is happening in any domain. Like I have automated processes from telecom, banking, finance, investments, healthcare, logistics, all different types of domains. Now in every business line, in every domain, there are processes which are redundant, which are rule-based, which do not require any human thinking. So this is there in every business sector. There is no domain or no business sector where there aren't any back office processes, administrative processes, which are sequential or which are rule-based. So you will see these process candidates everywhere. And once you find these candidates, you can take up for UiPath automation. Okay. And Citrix environment automation, yes. So Citrix environment automation is easily done using UiPath. So if you have any applications lying on Citrix, you can automate them with UiPath. And can we connect to database to read data and generate reports? Perfectly. You can connect with any type of database in UiPath, and you can generate a report as well. And security in UiPath. So security and auditing in UiPath is taken care with very high importance. So see, whenever you're working with any client, the main thing is how secure is it? How secure is my data? So with UiPath, security is taken care of very nicely. So you have proper access layers. So it's not like anybody can access the production environment, the data and all. So everything is taken care of by the UiPath administrator. Okay. And also the auditing is handled. You have very descriptive audit logs with UiPath. Let's say which developer is working on which code, which application, who edited the code, who accessed the application last time. So all those audit logs are maintained very nicely in UiPath. Okay. So how can we handle error handling? Yes. So error handling is also taken care of in UiPath. So all different types of errors you will take care of, like you have your business error, you have your system errors, application errors. So all sort of errors can be taken care of in UiPath. And once you have those errors, which route to take, how to go about it, you can also decide that. You can put in that code. Like in real-time scenarios, if suppose I'm working with this Flipkart website and for some reason the Flipkart website goes down, so the site is facing some downtime during the sale times, or when there's a sale period going on, you can see the site is going down. So at that time, you can put in some retry logic. You can retry the site for multiple times, and finally you can drop in a error email. You can drop in a notification to the business team saying that the website is down. This is the screenshot. Please find it attached and let us know by when the website will be up so that we can start our bot. Something like that. So you can always provide business emails, notifications through your bot. Send all these notifications through your bot to the project controller or to the business team and let them know what are the errors the bot is facing. So different types of exception handling can be done in UiPath. Okay, you can handle all kind of errors. And yes, so debugging of errors, yes, like any other tool, you have a debugger in UiPath as well, and we can integrate with REST APIs in UiPath. Yes, you can do that. Career in UiPath and future scenario. Okay, now let's say, now since this RPA sector is booming right now and still it is growing, I would say, because people are still not aware about RPA. And there are only few industries or few companies that have taken up RPA. And if you see, all the companies are trying to train their in-house employees into RPA. Because if you see, there is a very major scope of processes getting automated. Because most of the processes you will see in all the sectors, in all the domains, are redundant and are rule-based. And most of all the companies are realizing that, come on, I can automate these processes and I can put my employees on better value tasks, right? So you will find all these processes in all the companies. Now, each and every company wants to automate these processes, bring in RPA in their businesses, and put their employees on better value tasks, right? So that is the reason why there is a shortage of RPA resources. People that are trained on RPA tools like UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, there's a shortage because there's a lot of demand, but the resource supply is very less. So that is why if you learn UiPath right now and get yourself upscaled, you'll see n number of interview calls coming up and n number of career opportunities, and also the the packages that are being offered. So if you have the right skill set, if you are able to answer the questions in the interview, so if you're good at UiPath, you will get a good package. So I've seen people getting really good salaries as RPA developers. So salary wise, it's really nice. Future perspective, if you see, automation is not going anywhere. It's there in the future. And if you see 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you see that most of the processes in almost all the industries or domains are being automated, will get automated. Okay, so it's going to stay forever. It's going to stay in the future for next 5 to 10 years. Obviously, it's going to stay. And in future, after 15-20 years, I believe that RPA and machine learning or artificial intelligence would get integrated and they'll work hand in hand. Something like that. Okay, so the future is very bright, and salary wise also it is very bright. Okay. So some companies which work on UiPath, I worked with Deloitte, I worked with Accenture, I've worked with other companies. So Deloitte is the place where I started learning UiPath and I implemented UiPath, and that too 3-4 years back. So most of the companies are using UiPath, Accenture, PwC, all of these, because it is very application friendly and you can easily create processes in that. That is why. So most of the companies you'll see, if you go to the UiPath website, you'll see the partners list. So you'll see all the big names which are partners with UiPath right now. Okay. And what else? So as of now, what all companies are using UiPath in India? So mostly all of the companies, Tech Mahindra, TCS, all of them, everybody is using UiPath. Okay, how can we validate whether bot doing correct or not? Can we test? Yeah, so like whenever you write any type of code, and suppose you have written a bot, you have written an automation code, and whether it is functioning correctly or not, you will always do unit testing, you will do system integration testing and all. So UAT, SIT, all is done with automation files as well, with bots as well. Okay. So the normal software development life cycle is followed in your RPA development also. So you will have your analysis phase, you will have your design phase, development phase, test phase, and finally your deployment phase. So the same SDLC is followed with RPA also. Okay. And is there any testing tools for the same? No, you don't need any testing tool for testing your UiPath code or bots, okay? And why have to use UiPath in spite of other competitors? See, even after this session, I know you can always go ahead and search it over Google that why UiPath is better than the other RPA tools in market. I've already said that multiple times that there are lots of benefits with UiPath: security, audit, integration with applications, the learning space for UiPath, the free tool provided to you, and the UiPath community itself is very strong. So suppose if you have any issues, any doubts, you can post it in the UiPath forum and get them resolved. And also if you see, this tool was developed, I believe the tool was first released in 2008 or something like that. So it's freshly, it's a very new tool still, and it has taken up the market like anything because of its flexibility of getting integrated with any application and creating automation processes quickly. So since most of the companies in the industry have seen the benefits of UiPath, it has gained this #1 status. Right? And is there, okay, so after learning UiPath online, can I get job without hands-on experience if I have good hand-on experience in database? Yeah, so let's say you have learned UiPath through the training and you have learned it online, but you still lack project experience. But you can always do POCs, or you can create proof of concepts for your current organization using UiPath. Okay, and if you're good at it, if you have a certification on UiPath, and if you're good at the tool, you'll be easily able to crack the interview, right? And it doesn't matter if from whichever background you are from. Okay, and once the interview is cracked, they'll hire you. So people, if you'll see the job listings also, they are from, if you see the experience level, it's between 0 to 5 years, 0 to 6 years, something like that, RPA experience. So they also, even the employers know that this technology is new. So they have kept the experience band from 0 to 5, 0 to N years. So even if you don't have experience, that is fine. Okay, and also the UiPath certifications are free, even for this year, 2019. So if you go to UiPath Academy, there the UiPath certifications are free. You can get enrolled, you can get yourself certified, and you can look for a job, right? And what kind of roles are there? So with UiPath, you have a admin role, you have a developer role, you have a solution architect role. Okay, so developer, senior developer, solution architect, these 3-4 different types of roles are available with UiPath also. So UiPath Academy that I was talking about is just, you can go here, and if you search for uipath.com, so you can get yourself enrolled over here. If you start the trial version, you just have to put in few details, email ID, and you'll get the URL, you'll get the executable link, and you can download the software in your PC. And here you have the certification links also. So you have the UiPath RPA Academy. So here in the academy, you just have to sign up, and you'll find all the certifications available over here, and all the certifications are free. Okay, so this is the particular UiPath Academy certification. Go over there, you have to just enroll yourself and get yourself certified. So here you can see it says free advanced certification until 31st March. So come on guys, you still have a month to get yourself certified, and that too for free. After 31st March, you have to pay some amount to get certified, like 10,000, 15,000 rupees, something like that. So till 31st March it is free. So again, you have it's 16th of Feb. If you just time yourself and start practicing, join some training with Magna and some institute, and then get yourself certified in a month and start looking for a job. Perfect? Okay. So I believe the session is till 4 o'clock, right? So if you look at the PPT, where have we reached? So finally we are at the thank you slide, and these are the contacts where you can learn, you can get enrolled for your UiPath training, and then 31st March is the date. Just mark it in your calendar and get yourself certified, guys. Okay, and I had a nice time interacting with all of you. Thanks for joining in, and have a nice weekend ahead. Okay, and all the best for your RPA journey, UiPath journey. Thank you so much, guys. So the host can take it over.
Thank you, Avinash, and thank you all for participating in this session. Shortly, you will receive a feedback survey, okay? Please share your insights on today's session, as it will greatly help shape future events we conduct such as this. We'll also send you a link to the recording of this event so that you may share it within you, social networks, and revisit in future. So on behalf of Magna Infotech Career Services, a big thanks to all of you for joining us today. We hope you found this information and dialogue valuable in enhancing your understanding on RPA. So if you are interested to know more about the topic, do check out our RPA course on the MICS portal. It's mics.magna.in. So that's all for today. Happy weekend.